Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the April JCI USA webinar. Tonight's webinar is Motivating Your Members. So we're going to be talking about a lot of different ways that you can motivate your members. We are recording this webinar, so if you have friends or chapter members who are unable to be with us this evening, they will be able to watch it online afterwards. If you have any questions while we're going through the webinar, please feel free to type those in the chat section, and we will be able to answer them as we go, or we will definitely answer them all at the end of the webinar this evening. So this evening for your webinar hosts are myself. I am Noelle Knockreiner. I am your 2017 JCI USA Membership Director. My home chapter is JCI Indianapolis in Indiana, and I will let my partner in crime this evening introduce herself.
Good evening. I'm Trisha Beanie. I am one of the 2017 JCI USA National Vice Presidents, and my home chapter is Highland JCs in Illinois.
Thank you, MVP Trisha. I'm excited to have you with us this evening.
Thanks.
So tonight we are going to start talking about motivation and talking about what motivation is. So motivation is the force that compels us into action. So it's what makes us want to do something. And it's a very appropriate definition, seeing as we are young, active citizens within this organization. And there are lots of different types of motivation that people can feel that helps them accomplish their goals. So we're going to talk about these 6 different types of motivation this evening. We're going to talk about fear, we're going to talk about achievement, incentive, growth, power, and social motivations, and how you can motivate your members using those 6 types of motivation. So some people are motivated by fear, which is punishment or negative consequences. So some people are really afraid of things, and that is what motivates them to do well. A good example of this could be if you're in college and you are not carrying a very good grade in your history class, you may be very motivated by the idea that you are going to fail and study very, very hard for a test. So when it comes to JCI USA and our organization, probably motivating our members with fear is not the healthiest tactic for us to use. However, if you did want to utilize this tactic and appeal to those members who are motivated by fear, you could talk about impending deadlines, remind them that if they don't pay their dues, they won't be able to participate in certain activities, that maybe certain actions that they want to take or things that they want to do are against the bylaws or the governing documents. And then also some chapters sometimes have confidentiality agreements that they have their members sign, and so you want to make sure that you aren't doing anything that violates that. So that's another way that you could talk to your members and motivate them. But again, this is not the best tactic that we want to use for motivating our members, but it is one tactic.
And one thing that comes to mind for me for fear is if you go to like boot camp and you have your trainer yelling at you, that's kind of a fear thing as well, but that works. So
yes, absolutely. Thank you, Trisha. All right.
So moving on for achievement, there's a lot of ways that we can achieve to drive for competency, and one way is motivating your members. Passport to civic leadership, competitions, and awards are just some ways to motivate members, which the passport to civic leadership, it helps you kind of stay on track with your goals and helps you to figure out what you need to do. Make sure you get your taxes filed for your chapter. Make sure you're doing everything, and then you do reviews on it to make sure you do stay on track and you're online with everything going forward. It also helps you just assist in everything so you don't forget to do something that needs to be done. At the end, you do get recognition if you do complete your CLC at the end of the year on the national level, some on the state level, some states do that as well, which your CLC will be due here at the end of April. So I know some chapters have turned it in, but if you don't, you do need to get that completed. But if you go to jcmember.com, you can begin your passport to get that started. And then there's also the degrees that you can go through to help you to get you to your 10th degree. Moving on to competitions. Competitions are held on the national level. Some states have them. I know my state has them. And you do public speaking, debate skills. So you learn how to speak in front of people. You may not be able to do that now, but that's one thing that you can learn with the JCs is public speaking. Writing skills, learn how to become a better writer, and we all want to move on with jobs and make sure we're at our best job that we can get. If we do resume and helping to do interviews and everything like that, so that if you do have trouble getting a new job, we can help you to do your resume and to make your interview the best that it can be. So that's just a few things, and we bring in people to judge them competitions every year, and then you can move on from there. You can move on internationally. So that's just a few things, and then you can get more knowledge and dedication to the organization. So that's another thing, if you can get your members to step up and do competitions at your state and national level, that helps for you to move on and grow individually and to keep your members motivated. Awards. Awards are held at all levels. I know like some have regions, some chapters have their own banquets, some regions, and then you have your state, and you have national awards. And you can recognize people for the projects that they run, recognize the outstanding chapters, and recognize the members. New members, outstanding members, or officers. Projects, they can be in different areas. It just depends on how your chapter, region, or state would handle it. And chapters, they usually do for growth and how many, if you achieve your CLC, turning in PMGs. There's all kinds of different ways to recognize your chapters and projects and your members. Another thing is we have, for membership, for individuals, we have the 15, if you recruit 15 members in a year or even 50, you get a pin for that, which is a great thing to carry around saying, I've recruited that many. You can get that every year. So that's another award that you can get for your members, for yourself, and for your members to keep your members motivated to keep recruiting those people. So that's just a little bit on the award side. And
yes. And the next area that we are going to talk about is incentive. Many people are motivated by incentive, which is offering rewards for doing a good job. So we talked about being motivated by awards, and now we're talking about being motivated by rewards. So the way that you can motivate your members using incentives, you want to give them rewards for achieving goals or hitting targets, and you can do that through a points program. You can do that through gift cards and cash, paid registrations, giving them swag, t-shirts, etc., and then also other free stuff that they might be motivated by. So one way that you can motivate your members is through a points system, and this allows members and chapters to earn points towards a goal. These can be tracked monthly, quarterly, annually. It helps create competition among members, and it's something that you can have them build points towards awards, towards their membership renewal, or towards member-only benefits. So in my chapter, actually, quite a few years ago when I first joined, we used a point system. And what we did was every activity that you attended throughout the year, you earned a certain amount of points for. If you chaired a project, you earned more points, obviously. So if you attended an activity, you might earn 2 points. If you were on a committee, you might have earned 5. And if you chaired a project, you would earn 10 points. You also had a set amount of points you could earn for being on the board of directors. You had a set amount of points you could earn if you attended state events or national events. So everything kind of was given a point value, and then you attain these points throughout the year. And so those members who attained a certain level of points, and I don't remember what that was at this point, but over a certain level of points, you got your membership paid by this chapter for the following year. And you obviously had to earn quite a few points and really prove that you were very involved and a very valuable member to the organization in order for them to pay for your membership. So it wasn't that they just paid for everyone's renewals. They definitely, made you work for it. You had to, it was impossible for you to just attend events all year and get your membership paid for. You had to either also be sitting on the board or chairing activities or attending state and national events. So that's one way that you can incentivize your members using a point system. And I know Trish is going to talk about how you can incentivize chapters with points.
So you can do POC points, which stands for Parade of Chapters, and our state does that. And the state board comes out with that every trimester we do, or however often you would want to do it. You can do quarterly as well. And then the state president, they can roll special incentives out every however often they want to do. But we'll do points, and then at the end of the year, you can be the #1 chapter in the state with the Parade of Chapters. We give out awards for the top 10 chapters in our state. You can do 5 chapters or however. And then for us, the top 5 through 10, or 6 through 10 gets just a piece of paper, and then 1 through 5 actually gets a wood award. So it's a thing to keep our members motivated. And it can be from getting your renewals done early to hosting a project for your state camp to hosting a Nothing But Nets project. It could be, we have every area. We have our membership, community, management, ID. Make sure you host an ID project, do a CPR course or anything like that. Anything that the state board can come up with, and then you get points for that, and that gets tracked. So some things might be 50 points, some things might be 100 points, 500. I know, like for us, if you do an extension, you get 1,000 points. So if you would extend another chapter. So that kind of helps to get people motivated to be the #1 Parade of Chapters chapter in the state. So it's a big thing in our state that we have followed through with for years and kept on top of it to get our chapters motivated and stay on track with doing the projects that need to be done.
Oops. Okay, so another great way that you can motivate your members is using money in the form of usually gift cards or paying for registrations for them. So, it helps reward your members who work hard, and it's a good recruitment tool. So if you have members who recruit a new member, maybe they get entered into a drawing for a gift card, and everyone who recruits a member that quarter gets put in the drawing, and they have the opportunity to win a $50 gift card or something of that sort. It's a great activation tool, so if they participate in a certain activity or committee or something like that, they might have an opportunity to win. And it's also a great way to thank you. So if you have a little extra money in your budget, it's a great way to thank your project chairs, your committee members, etc. And then another outside of gift cards is, offering to pay for registrations to state events or national events. Sometimes, a financial burden is the reason that somebody is not able to attend a state or national function. So if you can thank them or activate them by offering to pay their registration, then that might be a great way to also reward them and incentivize them. And then, of course, people always love free things, so swag and free food are a great way to incentivize your members. You can have hats or t-shirts made with your chapter logos on them. You can have pizza parties for the top performers in your chapter or committee members. A lot of times chapters, after a big event is over, they'll have a pizza party to celebrate, and so that's a great way to kind of incentivize your members to do a great job. But these kind of things, also remember that they double as a great promotional tool for the chapter, especially if you are incentivizing people with, hats and t-shirts that have your logos or have your website on them, and they're wearing those around in public. That's obviously going to be, advertising for your chapter, that someone might go home and say, hey, I saw that, somebody was wearing a t-shirt that said Indiana JC's on it. I'm going to go to that website and check it out. So it's a great way to incentivize your members. So speaking of incentives, before we move on to our next section of this PowerPoint, I know that one of the things that we had talked about in the promotion of this webinar and incentivized you to come to this webinar is that we were going to be announcing our incentive for 2017 for membership. Unfortunately, I unintentionally bait and switched you because I have not yet been given permission to announce it. We are still working through some final details, some final logistics. We will be, though, announcing that hopefully next week. I would watch Facebook. We may even be convincing our national president to do a Facebook Live to announce what that incentive is going to be. Here's what I can tell you about it, and I see we're getting a question about it. Oh, well, I'm sorry that it's lame, Thomas. I agree, but there were just some logistics that we were unable to get worked out in time for this webinar this evening, and that sometimes happens. So what I can tell you about it is it's going to be during the third quarter, so you're going to have some time to prepare for it. It will be all during the third quarter. It will be something for you to work on for both recruiting members and retaining members. And it will be a great way for you to utilize some resources towards chapter projects that will help you grow and improve the great work and great things that you are doing in your community. So I probably shouldn't say too much more because I don't want to get in trouble because, like I said, I can't officially announce anything yet, but definitely check back next week. We will be announcing that, and we may even have a special webinar then to announce it fully and explain what you will be responsible for doing to participate in the incentive. So moving on to growth.
So with growth, how do you grow with just yourself personally, with being a JC and growing with the JCs? We talked about the public speaking, your jobs, how you can be better at your job, from planning, organizing, budget, everything like that. And you just grow individually on being more independent, and you learn to be a mentor, you make more friends and teamwork, and you get a sense of belonging. So that's a couple of things that I see with growth, as long as with that is the training opportunities, and then you can go to conventions, and with that, I mean, like for me personally, I wouldn't have got a chance to go to Quebec last year, or like a couple weeks ago we were in Las Vegas. This past weekend we were in DC. So there's all kinds of things that you can do to motivate your members, travel opportunities, to go to places that you may have never got the opportunity to go. In other organizations, they don't get that. So that's one thing to motivate our members to do that, and the training opportunities that you get that you may not get in other things. You can become a JCI certified trainer, and then you can go to, which we host JCI courses throughout the year. Your state may hold them, Nationals does hold them, and if you would want to do a JCI course, if you would contact any of us contact your region director or your state president, and they could contact us to get a JCI course in your area. We also host the LTUs, Leadership Training Universities, at the beginning of the year, which we have the dates for them for next year. I don't know if Noelle has them or not on top of her hands, but they are across the whole United States. There'll be one in Chicago, there'll be one in Vegas, there'll be one in Charlotte, I think, if I'm correct, Noelle. And
Sorry,
somewhere
yes,
else.
I was muted. Yes. They will be, I can to give you those dates actually. They will begin with in Philadelphia, and the Philadelphia LTU will be January 13th and 14th. The Chicago LTU will be January 21st and 22nd. The Charlotte LTU will be February 3rd and 4th. And last but not least, the Las Vegas LTU will be February 17th and 18th. And I may have reversed Charlotte and Chicago. I can't remember for sure. But those are definitely on the website, jciusa.org.
And that is $50 to attend, and that is your training, and that's your hotel room for one night. So it's definitely worth your while if you have never attended one of them to get there. If you can, you just have to pay for your way there, and then we do provide food during the training that day. We also host the monthly webinars, like tonight, and then there's other webinars that get hosted throughout the month. I know like they just had a Hobie one not too long ago, and then there's always the membership one each month, so sometimes there's even more than one. So that's just some of the training opportunities. Then moving on to conventions, I kind of got out of order there earlier. We do have the national conventions that we have. We just got done with the one in Las Vegas. If you attended there, it was a great convention. There was lots of trainings. There was projects. There was panel discussions, knowledge from sharing from others around the country. So that's one good thing that we have at conventions. You can talk to somebody in Minnesota to see what they did for a project, or down in Florida, or over in California, just for ideas of projects that can help you to be like, oh, maybe we should host that in our area. And we have lots of trainings at them as well. So there's always something to do at a convention, not to mention just meeting more people from across the United States. Individual development events, they can be held at the chapter level to empower members to be better. So I know like some examples, you can have the financial planning, automotive care, cuisine night, goal setting. I know like CPR we've done before, self-defense. You can do just as little as just minute-to-win-it games to something that you actually can grow individually. So there's all kinds of individual development projects, and that's another thing. And when you go to other chapters and see what they're doing, or talking to other people, you can get ideas for individual development projects for your own self, but that helps to kind of keep members motivated and a reason for them to come to a meeting. Be like, oh, we're going to learn how to do CPR tonight, or there's some financial planning that I need to figure out what I'm going to do, or I need to fill out a loan application, or anything like that. You can have any of those individual development projects at your meetings, and that will get people to attend and get them to stay motivated in your chapter. Project committees.
Oh, Trisha, did we lose you? Sounds like maybe we lost Trisha. Oh no. Well, I can talk about project committees a little bit then until she gets her audio back. So our project committees are another way that you can be involved And so if you want to grow your skills in a particular area, then a great way to get involved and do that is on a project committee. So you're contributing to the overall mission of the organization. You're helping to improve yourself, and then you're also building in teamwork. So if there's a particular skill that you want to get better at, it is a great way to get involved on a committee. Maybe you want to learn how to be a better marketer, so you could get on the project committee for an event and volunteer to do the marketing for it, and then you get some hands-on experience doing that. So that's another great way to grow your skills. So moving on to power. Some people are motivated by power, which is the desire for control. Those are the people who, really want to look for leadership positions. They want to seek out the future direction for themselves and others. They might want to chair projects, and they might want to utilize their experience in this organization for promotions or new jobs. So when you are a project chair, members can run a project. That's a great way to motivate them, is asking them if they're interested in that. They would have to learn how to write a project management guide, a PMG, which we know we all use for all of our projects that we run in this organization. They would be learning how to manage other people through their volunteers and committee members. So that's a great motivation for people who like to have power or manage others. And then they also are ultimately responsible for the success or the failure of the project. So some people kind of thrive on that, oh, this could fail or it could succeed. If it succeeds, they get to take the credit of it being a great success. So some people are definitely motivated to do things because of that recognition that they will get. So officer positions are another great way that those who are motivated by power can be engaged. Members can be the change of the organization. So they can hold an officer level or an officer position at the chapter, region, state, national, all the way to the international level. This beautiful woman you see on your screen is Dawn Hetzel. She is actually our JCI World President currently, and she is from JCI USA. So she's actually one of our own, which is very exciting. But she has worked her way up through this organization for many, many, many years, and finally has achieved the highest office that you can in JCI in the entire organization as our world president. So that is attainable for all of you and all of your members as well. Promotions or new jobs. So Trisha, are you back?
I'm back. I don't know what happened.
Good.
My connection was lost. Like,
That's
oh no.
okay. That's okay. So welcome back.
Okay.
So continuing on, promotions or new jobs, being a member of this organization is a fantastic resume building tool. Whenever I am speaking to members, I always am asking, who has the JCs on their resume, and I'm always shocked by how few people raise their hands when I ask that question. If you are a member of this organization, you need to have it on your resume. If it is not currently on your resume, I need you to pull your resume up after this webinar and add it, because the skills that we learn in this organization, these transferable skills, are so vital to helping you get promotions and get new jobs. I have gotten new jobs based almost entirely on my JC's experience in the past. The project experience that we have, whether you've served on a committee or you've served as chair, if you've been a member of your board of directors of your local chapter, those are all really great things that you can put on your resume that you can help you to attain a new job, because they are all transferable skills. And employers love to see in community involvement as well. So when you're giving back to your community, that is always a great thing for employers to see. And so that's something that you can definitely use to motivate your members to help get them involved. And last but not least, Trish is going to talk about the social aspect of our organization.
So yes, you see the picture, one of my favorite shows, Friends. One thing you get is a sense of belonging and acceptance when you are when you do belong to the organization. And that is one great thing that you can get to motivate your members. We do a lot of M nights or meetups. You get lifelong friendships, and some even meet their significant others with this. For M nights, chapters can hold monthly social gatherings, meet like-minded individuals, grow your social circle, and relax. Some thoughts for M nights. You can do a game night. You can do sports games, baseball, hockey, football, minor league games. That's a cheap way to do it. Winery trips. I've been to the horse races before for an M night. We have a bus. Sometimes the chapter will pay for a bus, and everybody goes on a bus, and you go to the event. Just going out to dinner. I've done some of them before, where you have a dinner that everybody wants to go to, or a restaurant that everybody wants to go to, and that always gets people out just to come and socialize. Or there's some ice cream places that everybody seems to like to go to that you can always host an M night at. Pool parties, party at the lake, or boating, everything like that. There's all kinds of ideas for M nights. And I know, Noelle, now you guys do meetups, so I'm not sure if you want to.
Sure, I'm happy to talk about that a little bit. My chapter does, we call them meetups, and they're essentially the same concept as an M night. It's just kind of worded a little bit different, because when somebody says to you, if they're a prospective member and they come to you and they say, oh, so I see you're having an M night, what's that? And you say, oh, it's a membership night. Well, I think that might sometimes send a message that that's only for members, that it maybe is a member-only activity, when really I think a lot of our chapters use our M nights to help recruit and to help meet prospective members. So my chapter, we started calling them meetups, basically taken from the meetup.com website that we also use to recruit members. And so we do these meetups every month, and they're really geared at, being very casual and very social, and helping to get prospective members to attend so that they can learn about the chapter. We make it a point to go to new bars in the city, so help our entrepreneurs in Indianapolis kind of jumpstart their businesses. So we'll go to a newer establishment in the city, and we also try to rotate around to different parts of the city so that we're always introducing our members to different areas if they're not familiar with the north side or something like that. So during those, we, like I said, we socialize, but we always also take the opportunity to talk about our upcoming events, talk about how people can get involved on committees and what have you. And we always have a membership person there who can sign someone up right then and there using our Square or something like that. So that's another way that we utilize those nights.
You also get, one thing you do is you make lifelong friendships. You can meet essentially people from all over the world. Like I said, I was in Quebec last year, and I met some people there, and I still know them, and I still talk to them on Facebook. Going to Amsterdam this November for World Congress. You can meet people across the country when you go to national conventions. I've got some great friends from just here right in the United States. Noelle's one of them. As far as Hawaii to Maine to anywhere you want. There's always people all over. Just to your local level, people you may have never met if you didn't join the JCs. I have great friends all just around my whole area that I never would have met if I was never a JC. So if you move into a new town, that's another way to get out and meet friends there. I know Noelle has a great story on that one that I just kind of put her on the spot of how she kind of joined the JCs, or why she joined the JCs.
Oh, sure. I'm happy to share that story. So, so I actually ended up coming to the JCs in a lot of ways that I think a lot of people find our organization. I had moved to Indianapolis from the state of Michigan, and I know that I saw some Michigan JCs on the webinar tonight, so woot woot. So I had moved to Indianapolis, and I was working in my first job out of college, didn't really know a lot of people, and I actually one evening was coming home from celebrating a coworker's birthday and was involved in a car accident. And I was actually hit by a drunk driver. And I was in the emergency room. It was really late in the early morning, really about 1 a.m. in the morning, and the police officer came into my room in the ER, and he had my telephone, and he says, "Okay, well, who can I call to come pick you up?" And I just started crying because I didn't have anyone in the city that I felt I could call at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. to come and pick me up. So not long after that experience, I found the JCs through Google and joined my local chapter. And I would say that as a result, now some 12 years later, that I could be anywhere in the city, anywhere probably in the state, and if I needed someone to come get me at 2 a.m., that wouldn't be an issue. I would be able to find someone, and I could say that probably in most any state, I could be anywhere and have someone that I know that I can connect with and can rely on. So that's something that I've really gotten from this organization, is a network of people that I can rely on.
Thank you for sharing that. So that's just one way of keeping your members motivated in what you get with us. And sometimes you even meet your best friend and you meet your significant other. So I know numerous JCs and even senators that have met their significant other with the JCs. So it is a great social place to meet as many friends as you want.
It may or may not have been a secondary reason that I joined the organization, but I did not meet my spouse through the organization, but I maybe had been looking for one when I joined.
I'm still looking, so we'll see.
Okay, so what is the best way to know what motivates your members? Before we talk about that, does anybody have any other ways that they want to share that they like to use to motivate their members? This is a great time to kind of share any things that have worked really well for you. I'll pull up the chat section if anyone wants to share. Okay, well, if you think of any, just put them in the chat and we will. Personal contact with members, Julie, that is actually a great one. You are most correct. And I think that, that growth is something that helps you get personal contact. That social, obviously, talking about doing some of those social activities, that's a great way to have personal contact as well and to really connect with your members and motivate them. Yes, thank you. So if you're unsure about how to find out which motivates your members, the best way is to survey them. And I'll let Tricia talk about surveys.
So one way, like she said, is we do MailChimp, or you can do a survey yourself at a meeting, bring it on paper. But MailChimp's very easy. And just ask them what they want. Kind of throw some ideas out and then just say, one way to get members motivated is what's going to motivate them. Just ask them. So, and ask them what they want out of their membership. Do you want social skills? Do you want to just meet friends? Do you want to run projects for the community? Do you just want a night out away from your kids? Something like that. Not that kids are bad, but sometimes you just need some time away from them. So just kind of ask them what their reasons are for joining. Even when they do join, just do a little survey when you talk to them for the first time and just say, hey, what are you wanting out of the organization? What activities do they like the most? Some chapters are more family oriented, where some are all more singles. So that's kind of something as well that you need to ask when they join, of what they have. And what makes them, do they want to be recognized and rewarded? Some people love to be rewarded, and that's what motivates them. So you can get a feel from different people of what they want to do, and you can do a simple survey to get that done. If you ever have questions on how to do that, you can ask myself or Noelle or anybody, and we'd be happy to help with anything like that.
Awesome. And we had a great comment that doing a practical MBA by a JCI project. It helps motivate members by involving them in project management. Yes, absolutely. Getting them involved in the management of projects, in the organization and the business of the organization in your chapter is a great way to keep your members motivated, because they're very invested at that point. If they care about what's happening in the chapter, if they care about the direction that the chapter is going or that the organization is going, that's going to keep them very motivated as well. So that brings us to the conclusion of how to motivate your members. Like I said, we will probably be talking to you again very soon, kind of an addendum to this conversation to talk about what that incentive will be for the third quarter. But at this point in time, are there any questions that Tricia or I can answer about motivating your members?
And I know one thing that I wanted to add that just popped in my head was make them feel wanted. Like just like
Absolutely.
invite them or anything like that. If they feel wanted, they will come.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I think it's always important. I always stress when I'm talking about membership recruitment, which is a preview of next month's membership webinar. We'll be talking about recruitment. When you talk about membership recruitment and how to recruit members, obviously building a relationship with them is so very important, and that's such a great way to to motivate your members is to have that personal connection with them. So make sure that you are connecting with them more than just seeing them at the M night or seeing them at an event, that you're picking up your phone and calling them and thanking them for being a part of the organization, that you are meeting up with them for coffee or a drink to get their feedback and ask them why they're a member and what their expectations are. I think that that's the best way that we can serve our members, is to find out why they're here and what makes them want to be engaged in the organization. So we do have a question here. Any suggestions for M nights in super rural areas that don't have any venues that allow alcohol? Tricia, do you have any advice on this one?
So coming from super rural area, that's me. So you have venues that does not serve alcohol. So we do card game nights sometimes. If it's people just bring games in, and we kind of bring our own drinks, whatever we want, and then we'll bring just some apps or something like that and invite people if it's at the community center or anywhere. I'm trying to think. We've got a bar that we can go upstairs in that we can use, or we can use the Legion or the fairgrounds hall, something like that. But we'll just do game nights and invite people out to that. We've got side places in like restaurants that we can use. We've done like a bags tournament there. So like you have the restaurant and then there's a side area that they allow us to use for bags or something like that for people to come out. I'm trying to think what else.
I can say something, and I'm not probably going to be very popular for saying it, but I want to remind you that you can have a good time without alcohol as well. Just
right.
saying.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, even if you do, we've done a softball tournament. We've done a wiffle ball tournament at a ball diamond, and that brought people. There's all kinds of new like water games with like kickball and stuff like that, slip and slides.
Yeah.
There's all.
And there's nothing to say that you could, that after you have your event, that you couldn't go to someone's house and socialize afterwards, where you're then on private property, if you wanted to participate in, socializing with alcohol. That's always a possibility too.
Right. And if you go, like if you have a lake or something, you can go there and just have like a social there, do some grilling and stuff like that. I know we do pool parties. I don't know if anybody has a pool, so yeah.
Thank you. I see that Joannie is asking if the slides for this presentation are on jciusa.org. They are not at this point in time. We can definitely add them to the library, but I can also, if you shoot me an email, if anyone who's interested in having these slides shoots me an email, I will be happy to send them to you myself. And also this recording will be available on jciusa.org within a day or so, probably. Any other questions? Julie, I will definitely send it to you. Thank you. Okay, well, if there are no further questions this evening, thank you all for participating in the webinar this evening. Thank you for these great questions. And I am very excited that MVP Tricia was able to join us this evening. And if there are no other questions for the evening, I see a couple people asking for slides. We'll definitely do that. We will wish you all a very good evening, and we will look forward to talking to you again next month.
Yeah, have a good evening, everybody, and thanks, Noelle.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.